Hey, we're right back where we left off yesterday. Can-Am inspired, right? Le Mans, GT40. It's got the whole mashup going on right now. Little change of pace. We're going to get to the roof. Enough with this front end. We're doing the steel thing to the roof today. As you saw in the time lapse, I got busy cleaning all the rust off. And what you may not have seen is me spilling my coffee. Yeah, took a nice big sip with the cap off. Good times. Let's continue on. I think we're gonna do some shopping. I know, changed my mind once more. Hey. Okay, one thing, all of these cars, the Group 7, I keep bringing all these terms up because I've been doing a lot of research. So they were kind of, in the early stages of this particular race, it was called Group 7. It was an unlimited category. Anything goes, apparently, for road racing for this style. And you came up with some really wild designs. And that's really where I'm going with this. Not that it's the ultimate performance car, but it's aerodynamic looking. It's show car looking. And like most of my stuff, it's more form than function, right? It's got a groovy vibe. Can you dig it? That's where we're going with this. Started with the slotted rims, the 70s style, and this is going to follow through with that, 100%. After laboring over my own self-interests, what the comments were, and what generally just looks better. Remember, I took the windshield and I raked it forward. That's because with a chop top on a Beetle, when you lower the roofline, it makes the windshield look even more exaggerated, falling rearward. So I think we're going to stick with the upright pillars, but we're going to get rid of this visor. That's right. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. When I was putting this visor in, it's crooked. I really warped the heck out of it. When it was in storage, it got rained on, it got rusty. I had a chain thrown over the top of this thing to keep the tarp on, and you know how the storage thing can go, right? We all know about rust. So I think with no further ado, we're just going to cut this visor right off and see what it looks like. No further hesitation. Yeah, I bet we could just go under here with the grinder, and we'll take these off separate. I think it's no further hullabaloo, actually, yes. Without any further hullabaloo, let's cut this visor off. How many times are you going to cut that car apart? How many times are you going to build it, then cut it apart? How about that? I think we're onto a theme here. You know, just like one of those weight loss diets. You know you got an inner beauty, but sometimes you got to shed some skin. Thank you. Yeah, this is interesting. Things started to get real loose in this area with all the different changes I was making. How are we going to remedy this? You know, there is a whole lot of ugly all through here. Idea after idea after idea. Wonder if I don't just peel this back. Wonder if I don't just cut this off and put a new piece in here. Probably going to be the most straightforward remedy. Yeah, I really like the way this comes together. No, I think I'm going to grind all this down and just slice up through here. I'll be the first to admit sometimes I get impatient and sloppy. All this. I mean, it's very strong. Let me just knock all this down hardcore with the grinder. We might just remake that corner because what a mess that is, huh? I never said Metal Master. That's just what those TV people came up with. I'm a guy who likes to mess around and find out. All of a sudden you start messing around and finding out, and they want to give you a title. You take a drive. Gotta pick up a couple more grinder discs. Be right back. That was a whole bunch of stuff. Clamped, grinded, welded, got that whole thing situated. Now the last thing to do is just detail in this A-pillar here with a fresh sheet. I cut off all that overlapping stuff, and one thing, this is the way the Beetle was pretty much. The door windows, this is what I mentioned, when you chop a car like this style, the front windshield, it appears to rise because it's so short. And with the laid back A-pillar, it just starts to look really strange. You could see the difference in heights between these two. I don't know what the answer is. That's to be decided. Let's put this piece in place. I think taking the visor off was a good call. Thank you. It's really easy for a person to just get caught up in their stubborn ideas and ways and not really think about anything except what they want to see. And I try to avoid that. I take constructive criticism. Now, if only a bunch of you would start chiming in and tell me to clean my shop a little bit. Or if we have any volunteers. Just kidding. I run this place solo. I retrieved my tin snips when I went to get grinding discs. So, back in action. Ooh, this is heavy stuff. This is the 18 gauge. Well, it'll be strong. Looking for sort of an organic joining of these two, so I'm going to pin this and wrap it and see if it kinks. When I say organic joining, I mean no rules, just like a flower in the field. Whatever blossoms. And of course, we got a big clamping case. I realized while I was doing all the grinding, I had already done this to the other side. That's what these long-term projects will afford. Forgetting where the heck you went on your last move. Yes, let's set this right here on the inside of that. There's a weird cut right here, so I'm just going to fill that up. Yeah, when I went in there to cut that visor off, I got a little over-ambitious. So let's pull this all the way down. This VW sheet metal is really thin compared to what I'm using. So instead of just tacking it like I typically do, I'm going to weld this thing all the way. That way I don't rip the tacks off if I start to hammer it. It might buckle up, it might just work. As I mentioned with those Metal Master comments, right? I got a pretty good idea, but I ain't 100% sure. Yeah, the original car sheet metal is just taking a beating from all these changes, so just trying to fill up this area that's been ground so hard. Yeah, it's really hard to explain the dynamic right here. See, I just blew that hole That's why I'm trying to just go vertical down with the weld, because this is so thin. So let's get this. So unless you got a perfect plan from the beginning, you're going to run into this sort of stuff, you know, repairing old seams, etc. It might be easier to do this exact thing on the hood at this point, and you know, that's just a little more time. I don't have any problem redoing panels. This I would consider to be a more appropriate or correct way. Remember we talked about that organic joining. This is what I was describing, this point right here. You don't want to hit it with a hammer and dent it, and my hand isn't strong enough. Looks like it's going to kink right here already. Unless we slap it. It's working. All right, let's take some of this material off, because this extra piece here is definitely restricting that from doing the roll that we require. Okay, since we got that to move without buckling it, we take this. Lump it right into shape. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to stack some welds. It is so burnt up and ground down. Okay, what's happening up top? Close this. Yeah, so I'm gonna just pull this straight through. Turn the welder down a little bit. Talk about an organic joining. That just fell into place. That's it. Let's roll it right into shape. I feel like we're getting somewhere. Looks better. It's much stronger. We grind it off. Well, that's one heck of a radical change from where we started when we put this thing on the trailer. The whole front end's redesigned. The visor's off. The hood's different. I don't know. Where do we go next? Maybe the side windows? I'm not sure. There's so much inspiration to be taken from that Group 7 style race car. I think anything can happen at this point. You know, it was an unlimited class. Maybe we're just getting started on this thing. Let's find out next.